everybody!
How's everybody doing?
How's everybody doing? It's been so long, like 2 weeks.
What's up, Internet?
Yeah.
Coming at you live.
I would just. Well, I don't have anything for that. Coming at you live was definitely the best. Welcome back. It's been so many weeks since we've seen you at Richard Stanley. You got Moses, Aaron Massey. You've got the Cheese, DJ Cheese Master. And we're here this week. We're going to be bringing you guys the best of new classics. Not nude classics.
No, not nude ones.
That's like Leisure Suit Larry. I would like to see more of that, like better Leisure Suit Larry. But
we did it nude last night, so it was
I always do it nude.
too early.
were you playing something nude? Is that what you were? Weren't you playing something last night?
Yeah.
I was playing Axiom Verge. What were you playing?
I was playing a little bit of Volgar.
Nude Volgar.
Nude Volgar.
Nude.
It's
Nude.
So I feel like that's somebody's
Not the
cosplay.
new one. The
Nude Volgar.
The nude one.
Nude Volgar. So what we wanted to talk a little bit about is that, it's been going on for a while now, probably the past year or something like that, but there's this trend of people taking older games and doing something with them. Now, I did a little bit of research on it, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that the average age of gamers flexes between 30 and 37. I guess 2013 it was 37, and then it got put back down to 30 because I guess the ESA decided, what the ESA is?
No, I don't.
As
like
the
the
entertainment
EPA?
suck asses. Yeah, it's like the EPA of the entertainment industry. And they decided to start categorizing gamers, including everybody who can basically reach a fucking phone. So it's like 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds are considered gamers. And you can go back and forth on whether that makes sense.
It doesn't.
But it doesn't. But it's still 30 at this point. So we've still got 30-year-old playing, and that means that when you have the average gamer of 30 years old, you have to go back to their childhood. I think that's where people have brought back the 8-bit, the 16-bit. It's also a lot easier to produce games like that.
Easier to produce, cheaper, looks cooler, looks way cooler than a lot of like the newer titles coming out.
Especially now that you don't have to sacrifice gameplay to make them look like that.
Yep.
They never had to
They look
sacrifice.
as a, 32 or 16-bit graphics.
Yeah, they never
Back
had
in
to.
the day, they used to have to sacrifice gameplay to make it look that good.
Do you think they sacrificed gameplay? Do you think?
They
I
used
feel
to.
like they
I
did.
said they used to.
I feel like they did a really good job making good gameplay with what they had. Everybody knows that I'm a big Square Enix file, for example, and a lot of people would say even now that the ones that came out for Super Nintendo, other than the fan base for 7, the ones that came out for Super Nintendo were some of the best games ever across genres. Like the storyline, number of characters, things that they took the Super Nintendo and really wrenched the graphics to do some amazing stuff.
I'm looking more about like the control mechanics of it too.
Okay.
So it's not like
Definitely for
like
the
games
8-bit
tended
era.
to back then. The better it looked, the controls tended to be more clunky or shifty or.
Well, what do you think about shifty controls and clunky controls versus difficulty? Because a lot of people say that games nowadays, they're easier because, to take a really specific example, Castlevania 1 or Super Mario Brothers. I think everybody here has probably played those two games, right?
Yep.
So the biggest problem to me in Castlevania 1 was always when you would commit yourself to a jump and then a fucking bird or a bat would fly in, hit you, and you go flying back and you go somewhere else. Or you'd run and you jump and you just miss either Mario or in that, you just miss a cavern because you couldn't readjust in midair. Now, to be fair, neither can we. Not in real life.
Right.
But we've added those notions to things now in almost all games where it's a little more anime-like. So it starts to say to a person, is it that the control scheme is better, or is it that
It's more realistic.
It's more realistic. What point have we made it too easy? I don't know. I know that a lot of the newer games that they've brought out, because of the type of people that they're for, they've added back in some of those frustrating elements. For a little bit last week, we were streaming Dick Punch. What was it called?
Fist Puncher.
Fist Puncher.
Fist Puncher.
Fist Puncher. And
Fist of Jesus Puncher.
Fist of Jesus. Fist Puncher I actually found to be super clunky. Now, to be fair, you get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
You figure out how to bend it to your will. But right off, I'm so used to playing... what's the last side-scrolling game I played? Did you play Dungeons and Dragons? Not that. Double Dragon Neon.
Yeah, I played that.
The game is so fluid. Absolutely fluid. Things react very well. Did you play that?
Is that the re-release?
Yeah, it was like
Double
sort of
Dragon?
a remake. I don't know if it was a sequel. Was it just a remake?
It's like a HD remake of
I
Double
think I
Dragon,
got
but
that
they
on my
added so
phone
much
or
new
something.
stuff into it. It's a brand
And
new
it was
Double
more. It was
Dragon game.
yeah, and it was more like the arcade. Really, it wasn't like the one for Super Nintendo where you played it and it was just like boop boop kick. Like this one was the more the arcade one.
Yep.
Yes, that's what we want to talk about today. So, which one of you guys wants to start? everybody played some games they brought to the table. So, who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Mike.
You want me to start?
Cheese Master.
I like Hotline Miami.
Okay.
Big into Hotline Miami.
Hotline Miami. So
Yeah.
tell us about Hotline Miami.
It's a game that's extremely violent, bloody, gory, but it has like this old school look to it.
Okay.
It's top, you know, I think most people probably know of it or heard of it because it's being such an extreme game. But top-down view, it's kind of like GTA style.
Okay.
But
Like the original
or
GTA?
The original
Like the
GTA from
Nintendo
back in the
and
day,
Super
mixed
Nintendo
with
ones.
like Smash TV.
It definitely looks like that from the screen we've got up. So is it just you just walk around and shoot people for points? Is there a storyline? Like, what's with the pig masks?
There is a storyline. Different masks have different abilities that they give you and different things like that. Now, Hotline Miami 2, they didn't really focus so much on different masks like they did on the first one, that all the different characters wear different masks and have different abilities. So,
Okay.
and there's a whole bunch of different characters to choose from in the new one.
Yeah.
The characters,
There's
the art
something strange
style,
going on here.
yeah, the art style's really
Hey,
cool.
guy!
It's really, really crazy art style and really crazy gameplay. It's, you know, I got this old school feel, but also new school. And
I want to cosplay this guy.
Yeah, you should, totally.
He looks like a big drooling penis. No. You know what he looks like? He looks like he's gonna break out of somebody's stomach like Quato. Quato.
Total
Is there
Recall.
In your mind.
Man, they could do Total, like Hotline Miami 3 should be like Total Recall. Be like
Just
Hotline
take place in
Mars.
that bar, though.
Just in the bar?
Yeah, just
Mario
in the
could be
bar.
in the bar. Why does I want to run around to see like heads explode and you're outside, like eyes popping out of your head? Was that real?
Yeah,
In
dude, they
Total
totally
Recall,
filmed it
if
on
you go
Mars.
outside, no. I mean, dude, they really? No, I mean, like the eyes. Like, does anybody know if you go outside into Mars into unpressurized areas, your eyes explode?
I'm not sure that Mars is that unpressurized. Like,
Well,
that's that
yeah.
low of a pressure to where it'll actually like blow your eyeballs out of your skull.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
But,
last
you
time,
know,
last time I was at Mars,
I had my
walked
suit
out.
on, you know.
I took. Nothing happened to me.
I'd go to the chat. We don't seem to have.
I took the blue pill. So.
We don't have anybody in chat right now, or I would ask. It's pretty early though, like filming on a Sunday. We understand 2 o'clock on a Sunday. We barely got here. We had breakfast.
Shit happens.
It does. Shit happens directly after breakfast.
Oh, we know
So
that.
that's pretty colorful right there. It's quite a lot of blood. It's like buckets of blood.
Yeah,
There's an arm just like
Yeah,
shooting.
lots
or
of
is that a
body
guy
parts.
standing?
It's a guy
inside?
standing.
You can
Okay.
kill people in all kinds of different ways. The game has like a lot of weird effects that kind of make it look hallucinatory almost. It's really
How do
cool.
you mean hallucinatory?
Like you're on drugs.
Oh. But now is it playing this while you're on drugs?
I would like to know actually. I haven't done that yet.
Really? Okay.
We'll
don't
get
know
back
what
to you on that one.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way to
Yeah.
stream from Nicaragua.
The
and make
end
sure
boss
we
in
go
this
through
game
those.
is super fucking crazy, so I would like to see what it would be like to take drugs and play the end level because it's fucking insane. It really
I know
is.
somebody that went out to the forest and did streams while watching they brought a projector and they watched the Blair Witch Project in the forest on shrooms. Apparently that's a really bad idea. Apparently that's the scariest thing that can ever happen to you. So what are these little machines here? Like we've got like directly above us, there's like one right there.
Arcade
one there.
machines.
Is that what they're supposed to be?
I think so.
Yeah, all right.
It looks like a top view of a Super Nintendo, at least the one in the middle.
This is what I imagine ZapCon looks like right now. There's just
Blood
all over
everywhere.
the place, and hopefully, if that's going on right now, that's probably why nobody in AZ is watching this. They're all there, pew, 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 pushing buttons and stuff. All right, cool, man. Well, anything we should take away from this, like, other than you shoot a lot of people and it's fucking insane?
Yeah, I mean that's really what it is. The game's not super detailed. It's
Okay.
just all about reflexes and timing and exploiting the way the game system is set up because the AI is not super smart and they made it that way on purpose. You know.
Okay, cool. All right. What else you got for us? Do we want to jump somewhere else and come back, or do you want to hit the second one? What else we got over there? I got Axiom Verge.
Let's do that. Let's
Can we do Axiom Verge? All right, we'll pull over. So I pulled up Axiom Verge. I don't actually have the screen capture for this or anything like that. We've got. It's a really interesting game. I latched onto it because people were talking about that, and you can even tell just by looking at it that it's I don't want to say it's a copy of Metroid, but it's very spiritually close to it. You get dumped in there.
It reminds me of a mix between like Metroid and Contra.
Contra because of the things.
Like the aliens in Contra?
Yeah.
The way they were like alien.
I think we have a slide on there with one of the bosses. Why don't we see if we can pull up? So that's we can come back to that. That's more so that's a boss. That's what you're talking about, right? Like this giant laser shooting vagina.
Yeah. Well, or even with that first one, the first screen that we had up with the big head. It kind of looks like that MC Geiger or whatever.
Oh yeah.
HR Geiger.
Yeah.
HR Geiger. Yeah.
So that's actually like this
MC
is
Geiger.
a story
Yeah.
MC Geiger, that should be a thing. You can start MCing with the cheese, and you can be MC Geiger, or I'll do it. Shit. I'm dead now. The art style of the game is a fusion of a couple of different things. It almost looks like some of these blocks that are made, like you can see up on the left side of the screen here. I don't want to say they're carbon copies, but they're very similar to stuff that comes in Metroid. When they drop you off, it looks very similar. You can see, he's going to talk about Volgar later, but some of the similarities between Volgar and some of the throwbacks are there. The storyline, I would say, was not... So far, it's weird, but it's not very engaging yet, and I haven't gotten that far. I played the game for about an hour and a half. I'm going to have to move on to some other stuff. I'm going to come back to it. Maybe I'll stream it a little bit later or something like that. It's only on PS4 presently. So this is what I was going to talk about. This is not a mess up. This is an effect. One of the things that the game does that's very different from Metroid is you start off with a lot of different types of guns. So you have like, within 10 minutes of gameplay, you have like 3 or 4 different types of guns that do different stuff. They shoot, they spread, kind of like Contra, like you were mentioning. And you run into these spaces, just like Metroid Run, where you're going through huge maps. You run into these spaces where it almost looks like what used to happen when 8-bit screens would get screwed up. Like, you had dust in the cartridge, or there was a bad connection between the pins or something like that.
Somebody just bumped it and it got loose.
Right, and this would happen. Anybody who played a lot of Nintendo games, this didn't really happen so much with Super Nintendo, but Nintendo games, you probably saw an effect like this at some point just due to the technology. Well, this is actually part of the game. You actually go out and you find a D-Res gun that you can shoot this with, and it will bring it back into reality. This is like a D-Sync or a D-Res gun or something like that. So they do really weird effects, and I don't really know what that means to the storyline, that you're somewhere that's an effect. I'll find out sooner or later, and maybe I'll write an article about it too. But overall, the game's pretty fun. It's a lot of pew-pew, a lot of shooting.
Pew-pew, yeah.
Interesting bosses. I haven't run across anybody hard yet. I've killed about 3 bosses, and they're all very much just like stand in one place and jump at the right time. I didn't even really have to move. There was one that was like dropping bombs, and as long as you just kept moving, you're okay. So now I'm playing it on normal, so it's possible that hard is harder, but usually hard mode just means everything does a lot of damage, and I've only really died like once, and it was because I was figuring out how the controls worked. So I recommend it. It's a little on the pricey side for something like this. It was $19.99 on the PS4. I don't think it's going to get any cheaper. It's supposed to be out on Steam and then PS Vita later this year. I feel like that if you own a PS Vita like I do, there's a lot of... The problem with Vita, and I'm not trying to turn this into a topic, the problem with the Vita is that it doesn't have a lot of exclusive titles that are worth it. I own like maybe 3. Like Masamune Rebirth was a pretty good title on its own. I loved that game. It was super great. And all the expansions and stuff for it, it's fucking great. Would I run out and get a Vita for it? Not necessarily. But if you own a PS4, Vitas are awesome. I have never played so many video games in the toilet, ever. Mm-hmm. The streaming capability is amazing. When I took a trip to Tokyo one time, I was playing my PS4 online to Tokyo from a hotel. That's amazing. Unfortunately, the 3G makes it, you can't really do it anywhere. The Play Anywhere thing is still a little far away. But if they release this game for a Vita, it's not something I feel like you need to play on a widescreen. You can see it's got that classic like 8-bit look to it. So I'm not really sure that you need to have like it on a giant projector screen to enjoy it. It's something that would work really well on a smaller screen. So if you're going to hold off between it, you don't want to get it on Steam. Get it on Steam if you want to get it on Steam. It's obviously it's going to work fine on a PC, but between the PS4 and a Vita, you might want to consider getting on the Vita. Although if you can also clearly, if you have it on the PS4, stream it to the Vita. So there's that too. So yeah, that's Axiom. So
it's my turn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with Super Time Force.
What does that stand for? Super Time Force Ultra?
Super Time Force Ultra. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's Tufu. Tell us about this. I haven't.
All right, so this is by a company called Capybara Games. It's really, the storyline is really fun. Like, if you just look at what they're saying, it starts off with a mad scientist that creates time travel, and about 2 minutes he's got an eye patch. One
Double
eye patch.
eye.
No, just
Oh.
one from the start.
Oh, okay.
But when he comes back from the future, now he's like some like general with medals covering the entire front of his jacket. And he's got 2 eye patches, and he never really talked about what happened to his second eye or how he's still able to see. But
It's not important.
Yeah, it's not really that important. It's very much like Contra, but when you get the opportunity to go back in time. You can go back in time as far back as you want. You can go all the way back to the beginning of the level. So like right here, that guy just died.
So you don't die, you just reverse? Is that like-
Right, when you die, reverse, you go back in time, and then it'll show basically your previous self does the exact same thing you did the first time you play. And if you can save yourself from dying, you actually get a power up. So if you hold down like the shoot button, it does like a charge shot.
Okay.
And if you go and save your original self from dying, and you pick up the little drop that it leaves, your special now does whichever character you were playing in the previous life and the one you're currently playing.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Sure.
So like the sniper lady shoots like this really high powered beam, and the machine gun
Sniper
guy does like
lady.
a spread shot. So if you save homegirl from dying when you died last time,
Is that her name?
yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
no, her name's not
Is it Sniper Wolf?
homegirl. Sniper bitch.
Sniper,
Uh,
Sniper bitch.
If you save her now, when you do your charge shot, you get the 3 spread shot from the machine gun guy because that's the guy you are currently. But it also fires a focused like high powered beam from the previous special. So it's
The producer was just pointing out that the building on the back, I don't know if that's a specific group, but it's called the Swaz.
Swaz.
Like Patrick Swayze, people call him the Swaz. You never heard that before? Never heard that?
Did they call him the Swaz? I thought it was like.
What's that? There's a show that on a local radio says like Rat Chat Swaz or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it
It
is.
was like Shatner.
It's William
Swaz,
Shatner, Swayze, and
somebody else with an S.
it's the guy from who was from Police Academy. He played the main character from the first couple Police Academies.
Steve Gutenberg?
No, you're right. That's not it.
No.
No, it was Gooch Chat Swaz. That's what it was.
Gooch.
It was Gooch Chat Swaz.
Gooch
That's
Chat
what it was.
Swaz.
Gooch Chat Swaz they would do this. It had nothing to do with us, but it sounds like something we would do. But Gooch Chat Swaz was this thing where they would basically like they would have trivia and you have to decide if it was Steve Gutenberg, the
William
Swaz,
Shatner.
or William Shatner. So Patrick Swayze.
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 May he rest in peace.
So is this multiplayer couch co-op? Like on
It
the
is
same-
multiplayer couch co-op. You
Okay,
can
so
do
we can-
multiple
is
players
it-
in the same
okay.
screen, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's very
So
it
maybe
can
after the show we can like load this motherfucker
yeah,
up.
we can do another stream.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very, very chaotic, or at least it gets chaotic. It starts, it's very slow moving, so it starts off in like the standard tutorial level, which I think is probably about twice as long as it actually
Okay.
needs to be. But once you actually get into the game, it gets very, very chaotic with the amount of stuff on the screen that can kill you.
It
And then
reminds me
you
of,
go back
Metal
in time,
Slug.
like you get 30. Yeah, it's a lot like Metal Slug.
There's this
you get
other
30
game-
lives, and each time you go back, your previous self is on there. So if you die at the same point every game and go back to the very beginning of the level every single time, there's going to be 30 of you
Oh.
running around the screen.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
There was this game in the arcade. I don't remember what it's called. It might have also been for Super Nintendo or Sega. But you played one of 4 people, and it was like yellow. It was like gauntlet colors, like blue, yellow, red, and green. And they were like doors, and the screen didn't necessarily move or shift, but things would attack you, and you were like the colonel or a chick, and you had guns, and you would shoot. And you were in an arena. Now I can't remember what it's called. Probably nobody knows what I'm talking about based off that description. But
I feel like I might have played. You said it was arcade?
yeah, man. And now I'm gonna have to look it up because the style reminds me a lot of that. That particular arcade game, I think it had closer to a 16-bit. Where this game, obviously they wanted to go for 8-bit, not 16-bit.
Yeah.
And that's something we were talking about earlier. Is that a lot of retro gaming, they have this half 16-bit, half 8-bit feel. Like on the screen here, the characters and the bullets and everything are clearly made to look more 8-bit in nature because 16-bit would have looked better. But if you look at the color palette in the background, there's no way they could have done that on an 8-bit screen. Like the processor just couldn't have handed down the colors simultaneously. So it's it gives you the right feels with the right technology.
Is that
right?
dinosaur riding a...
It is.
It is.
It looks
There's
like
actually
the
That's one of the
dinosaur from that
characters
show.
you can play as.
Remember the dinosaur show with the not the mama?
Oh,
not
yeah,
the
no, that was called
Oh, it's called
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
It's
Yeah,
like
that
the
looks-
sun.
That looks like the sun.
It is the sun. There's also who did I say earlier? Is like Dolphin Lundgren.
Dolphin.
Where you're like a dolphin that's like, I'm not kidding, you're a dolphin.
I think this guy's name's like Van. It's like a reference to Van Halen or something.
This one?
The blonde guy in the dead center of the screen.
Is
The
this
blue.
dude up here? This guy right up here looks a little Mad Maxy. Oh, you can't see
Yeah.
him. Mad Maxy right there.
Yeah,
Pretty awesome.
those are all enemies.
This whole level looks pretty Mad Max. I didn't even think about it actually.
And I see the Statue of Liberty broken down in the corner.
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
look at that. Damn yous!
God damn
You
you, all to
animals!
hell!
All right, what do we got next? I don't even know anymore. I
Only
forgot.
those as super smart as me will be left alive to bitterly cry.
Retro City Rampage?
You want to talk about
Yeah,
Retro City
let's do
Rampage?
Retro City
All right,
Rampage.
so we got a video for this one, incidentally. We can throw that out in the background, so you can describe this. This also seems very much.
This is directly a GTA clone in a way, like the original GTA that was out on PlayStation 1 or whatever. And but the big difference about this game is that the guys that made it are like huge retro game lovers. So when you're playing through this game, there's just like tons of references to other video games. There's certain little levels in here that you go
Video
into
crap.
that are like all the other games. So like there's parts in there that are like from the Ninja Turtles games and stuff
Right.
like that. Literally like tons of characters from other video games that they do in like a way so that they couldn't get sued. Obviously,
Right.
It's like
Milkies.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
just a super awesome game. Man. Like, and they've updated it a couple times and gave it all kinds of new stuff you can do with it. You can edit characters in it and all kinds of stuff.
You know what it really looks like from the top down? It looks like the top down portion of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Nintendo game.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Just like from, it looks like the way you wanted that to play because that was a very limited portion of it. Most of the gameplay in that game was the side scrolling. Now this game is it's all top down, right? Do you go
Yep.
into buildings?
You can
and
go
do
into
stuff?
buildings. There's some parts that are a little bit different, like you can do like some side scrolling parts, but for the most part, it's all top down like this.
Okay.
And they just you can jack cars.
So it really is like a poor man's version of.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You don't have enough of a computer, but you want to have the experience of just stealing from people and taking their cars, and you can still do this. But it definitely has that old 8-bit with the chat boxes kind of feel.
Uh-huh.
The cars look like they're taken straight from the first Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Does it have multiplayer or is it all single player?
It's all single player, and I mean it's totally just like
dupes.
GTA.
Defeat
get
the
all
drunk.
kinds
Is that a bat?
Yeah, you can get all kinds of different weapons, just like the GTA.
He's using a guitar now.
Yeah, there's all as you can see.
Was that a guitar?
Yeah.
You can hit people with all kinds of stuff like that. You
Oh.
can go to just like in GTA, you can go to a barber and change your hairstyle. So like there's all these weird like different. Your character will look different with different things, like different hairstyles, different faces.
It's funny how talking about that because somebody doesn't have to spend as much money or as much time in all of the art. I mean, they do. It's very difficult to come up with really good art for this stuff. I'm not saying it's not, but that they can instead invest that in more content. And I feel like that's one of the benefits is that a lot of these retro style games that come out, they give you more and more hours of gameplay, but it's a different kind of experience, and you have to expect that. And it's unfortunate to an extent. That's why when I paid $20 for Axiom Verge, I was like, I mean, how many hours am I going to play this game? And how do we dictate what we think is a good amount of money for another experience? Now, to me, I say it's one of two things. Like, I still bought The Order, 1886. I think you played through that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see him play through it? It's super like 7 to 8 hours you can beat the game. Especially if you're not trying to do every little thing. But it was 7 to 8 hours of experience. It was a really good time. Now, I pay $20, with candy and stuff to go see a movie sometimes, and that's an hour and a half, 2 hours. So then I extract that out over the fact that it was interactive and there are things that paying $49.99 because it wasn't a $59.99 game. It was actually $10 less. It didn't bother me, and I know there's going to be expansions that come out for it. But
Order was $10 less than regular.
yeah, it's $49.99 instead of $59.99.
Weird.
Generic cost, but
So I feel like that people, they have a very particular thought in mind as to what they're looking for, and then maybe some people look for certain things and other people don't look for certain things. But it shouldn't always be about looks and whatnot. So
Well, when we were talking about that before the show, also, it was back in the day when video games had to look like this.
Right.
There were certain things that were sacrificed, like a tutorial level,
Right.
a storyline in general,
Right.
clunky controls, or just gameplay in general was sacrificed to make it look this good.
And now they
But
can-
nowadays, it's so cheap, like memory-wise,
Yep.
to make it look like this. You have all this extra space to put actual content.
And you can
in there.
expand it. Like if somebody wanted to release Retro City Rampage on a phone, like you could play this on an Android phone if they
Yeah.
wanted to. They wanted to add multiplayer to it so that you could. Is he holding a
Oh,
zapper?
I was just gonna say,
Is that a Nintendo zapper?
Yeah, it totally is. And like this, when the game starts, it starts off almost like a Back to the Future kind of thing, where you're like with Doc and stuff.
I guess is that the guy in the upper right hand corner up there?
Yeah. The game has so much cool shit in it, and a great soundtrack to boot. Like
That's a DeLorean.
a lot of great chiptune artists came together for the soundtrack, and they actually like did songs that are similar to songs from old school classic
Oh, nice.
games. So you'll kind of hear it and you'll be like, oh, that sounds kind of like a song from one of the Ninja Turtles games, but it
Oh.
isn't. It's like a new style version of it. Yeah, it's really cool.
Nice. I think I heard something about it that they're supposed to be making a sequel for this or something. Very soon.
Retro City Rampage DX is out now.
That's
but
it.
It's just an upgrade where you can do all kinds of new stuff with it.
I think it's available on Steam.
Yeah. So since I bought Retro City Rampage,
Skate-
I already have the DX version.
skate
It just
and
comes
buy.
automatically.
Man, Skate or Die. What a great
Skate
game.
and buy.
It's like $10. I think Retro City Rampage is like $10 or maybe $15. Either way,
it's like
worth it.
$9.99. I think it might be like $6.99 or something on Steam right now, so that's pretty good. What we got next?
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight. Okay, Shovel Knight. So I.
Tell me yours.
I mean, have you played it?
I haven't. No.
I don't think either of you guys have played
No, I
it. So
haven't played
I played it for a little bit so I could talk about it. I heard a lot about it. Shovel Knight is a really good throwback, and you mentioned before you said it looked a little bit like Castlevania. It does play to some extent like a version of a couple of different games put together. I think it plays more like Wizards and Warriors, but with a much more upgraded skill level. Certain things you have to do for it. Obviously, things run faster. It's almost like Mega Man meets Wizards and Warriors. That's the best way that I could describe it. Because you get new abilities by fighting things and having them come back. But a lot of the things that, a lot of the abilities and skills and weapons that you get in newer games, they've almost retrofitted. Yep.
Oh shit.
Yep. They've almost retrofitted for this game. And you can get it as it says on their PS4, PS3, Vita. It's another game that I'd recommend if you were going to pick it up. Consider getting it for your Vita if you have one. Again, you can stream it for your PS4 if you want to, but it's a good game to just kind of have around. I picked it up for when I'm on trips and stuff. It's been pretty fun so far. So, the storyline is what it is. I mean, I don't want to kind of get into that and loosen it up. You do use a shovel as a primary tool for a majority of the game. But it shows you some of the graphics that are in there. You can obviously dig with it to get out to power-ups and stuff like that. But there's a lot of different games. There's influences from Ghosts and Goblins in the game. Talk about a new game we could see. Somebody made a remake of Ghosts and Goblins.
That'd
Did
be
you ever
cool.
play that?
I used to play the crap out of it.
I
Ghouls and
love-
Ghosts was my favorite.
That's the Super Nintendo one, right? Or Ghouls and Ghosts was the
It was-
Nintendo
I had
one.
it on Genesis, but it came out on Genesis and Super Nintendo and arcade.
Did you ever play Maximo? That's what it was, Maximo.
Maximo, yeah, that was on PlayStation.
Yeah,
right?
Maximo was a
3D version.
It was the 3D version of it. It was pretty cool.
wasn't bad.
It wasn't quite so demon-y
Mhm.
because you were dealing with like witches.
Did either of you play a game from Nintendo where you were a knight and you usually, pretty sure the boss of every level was a dragon, and you always seemed a princess named like Esmeralda or some shit like that, like a very 13th century. I know I'm being very vague right now. I've been trying to think of this fucking game forever,
Hey,
and like
you're not
every
the
time
only
I
one.
see something like, I mean, not so much like this, but
I don't know.
it reminds me very much.
It's
of
not
it.
Esmeralda's not hitting anything for me. I know it's a famous, well-used princess name.
Yeah.
I can't. Sorry, I don't know. We're getting old. What can
Yeah.
I say? What can I say? So we had Shovel Knight. I know you had at least one more. You were going to talk
Yeah.
about. You want to go over to Volgar?
Yeah, we can go to Volgar.
Okay. So we actually have a nice little video for this one. This is
What was the name of that game?
Rastin.
Rastin. Okay, so there's a game that came out for the Genesis, I believe.
Actually, it was arcade first.
Arcade first.
Arcade first. There's been 3 sequels for Rastin.
That's
Rastin
it right
Saga.
there. That little dead body that he just ran past is supposed to be Rastin from the original game. It was just like supposed to be a throwback to that game because the first level is almost identical to it. But as far as difficulty goes, is just like Rastan, and it will make you want to put your controller through the screens. I played this game for, I think when I first got it, I played it for about 2 hours straight, and I didn't even beat the first level. I don't even think I made it to the first checkpoint. The checkpoints are really far apart. It's extremely difficult. You pick up, as you can see, he's got a flaming sword, a helmet, and a blue shield right now. All the power-ups. He's basically full power right now. But you have to pick those up one at a time. But if you get hit, you lose them too at a time. So you're kind of fucked if you get hit like that. But when you're actually doing good, like I think this is supposed to be a speed run, so this guy's gonna do it perfect. But when you're actually doing good, it's a lot of fun.
I played it for a while. I played it at the bar for a little while, and I downloaded it and played it. I did well with it. I still have a lot of my old school abilities from those old 8-bit games.
Yeah.
So, I got through the first like 2 or 3 levels on fire.
Yeah.
After that, at some point you just have to stop.
Yeah.
Thinking for a while.
Well, and not only that, there's you can beat the game like normal. Like if you died or whatever, it's totally fine. You can still go through and beat the game. But then it gives you this message that says you didn't really beat the game. If you want to really beat the game, you have to go through it without getting hit or without dying. Either one is ridiculously hard. And then
is there a different ending if you do that?
Yeah, there's a different ending and a new boss. So like the game will continue.
So this is the
there you go.
This is the side by side actually what he's talking about. So on the left we've got Rastan, and on the right we've got this game. You can see the block there. The similar type of enemies that are there, lizard enemies and stuff. They fight in a very similar way. When Rastan goes down, he attacks. And actually, interestingly enough, Rastan it's well known as being a super hard game. It was really cool. The first one, the follow-up ones 2 and 3 for Rastan Saga were a little lame, but it was super cool. It had a lot of very Conan-y kind of a look to it. But you had a bar, like a health bar, and you could get health back. In this, it's just like you get hit, and all you have is your armor, and it's gone. So this is one of those cases, I think, where they definitely, and here's the official Rastan background. This is definitely one of those games, I think, where they were like, we're going to put it back to as hard as it was. Like, you're going to deal with it. So a lot of the people who complain about games not being hard enough, go pick up Volgar.
Yeah. And once you beat it, then it'll tell you how stupid you were for getting hit or dying and not picking up every item of the game until you go do it again. So it's very, very much put your controller straight through your screen game.
Did you get a chance to play it?
It'll push you. It'll push you that far.
Sweet. I loved Rastan. I love this game. It's super awesome.
I feel like it's one of those games that, and we haven't played this. We should we'll probably do a week on couch co-op stuff. But to an extent, this reminds me a little bit of Dragon's Crown. In some of the way that it's put together, and then if you could play this game multiplayer, it would be super cool. You could have like one other person helping you or something. You could like jump off each other's shields and stuff, and that'd be really cool. I wonder who that is in the background. It's like, supposed to be Odin.
Yeah, it's Odin. You pick up Mjolnir, and
you do.
It's very like when earlier in the video he like does a stabbing motion down through a plant, and he picks up this thing. It's actually a Mjolnir's hammer, and it gives you, basically puts an aura around you. So if you're however much armor or whatever you have, if you get hit, instead of taking away your armor, it does this like explosion that sends out these orbs, and anything that gets hit by an orb is instantly killed. So it's kind of like an extra hit for your guy without having to sacrifice armor or attack power.
Gotta love some meow meow.
Yeah, meow meow.
Meow meow's pretty good. Cool, sweet. So that's Volgar. What do we got left? Terraria. Did you play Terraria?
No, I never played it. Was this like Minecraft?
It is. So Terraria is, Minecraft in a way. It's side-scrolling instead of an up-down instead of in a 3D. And I've said before, I'm not personally a huge fan of sandbox games. I get it because to an extent, I feel like maybe Minecraft is the Legos of now. I still like physical Legos, but it very much is like you can get things and you can build stuff. And I never had any reason to build things with Legos. I just did it. And this is the official trailer for Terraria. But you can dig, you can pick up pieces, you can then build stuff with it. So it works just like Minecraft. But if you look at the style, like right there especially, it's very Final Fantasy looking. So they take different bits from different games that they found they thought were the best art styles. The characters look like sort of the Final Fantasy 1 through 3 approach. Some of the levels look very much like Mario. And then they have everything is built into these little blocks, right? You can see that they're purposefully made to be square. but you can build a ridiculous number of things. And Terraria it's pretty cheap. You can get it on Steam, you can get it on PlayStation, you can get it anywhere. And it's one of those games that definitely could just go on and go on and go on. So if you're considering buying a pay-to-play game because you just like having things that waste a bunch of your time, I would recommend maybe trying to pick this up. Also, it's got multiplayer, much like, Minecraft does. It's not quite so large. It's not like you can create your own servers and stuff like that, but you can still have a lot of fun with it. This is a hollowed out level that somebody's looked at before. It kind of gives you the idea of the expanse of it. The levels are very, very large, so you have no lack of possible content and things that you can build and things that you can explore. I think that the people who are looking for an easy downloadable game, if you haven't played this, and it's old. It's like 2 or 3 years old. It's been around for a while. But I think the game that you were the one who was talking about so long ago, like No Man's Land?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. If you're into expansionary games, like No Man's Sky is going to be, this game is great. It'll work just well for you to take you over until then, especially if you like the 8-bit throwback. So Terraria is definitely another option for you guys. So I feel like we had one more. Was that it?
Binding of Isaac.
Oh, you can talk about that.
I can talk about that.
I haven't actually played it, and I can only guess at what it's about, but I know this game is great.
I've watched it being played tons, and I've not really played it though. So it's a game.
All right, well, I guess I can talk about it then. So Binding of
I
Isaac
can kind
is...
of help you out.
Okay, so Binding of Isaac is basically Legend of Zelda 1. But if it was done by the person who did Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
There you go.
It's very similar art style, a lot of similar kind of thematic stuff.
It's actually based off of that Bible story of God asks guy to kill his son and stops him. Yeah, based off that story where Isaac's mother thinks she's talking to God and God's telling her to kill Isaac, so she locks him up in the basement
With a bunch of horrors, or is this just his mind?
I think he's dead. Maybe.
Oh,
maybe she did kill him, and now it's like his hell is the basement that he was locked up in when she was trying to decide if she should kill him or not.
okay.
That's where I started to get a little bit hazy on the story.
Right. At some point, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. You're like once you start walking through the levels and see like the type of shit that you pick up and the type of enemies that you're fighting, it's like storyline almost goes completely out the window. It doesn't make any sense after that. But.
So you can see here the way it looks. Like you can see the traditional like Zelda doors in the four corners. You pick up power-ups, you shoot things, you find your way through basically mazes. It does work more like Smash TV in the version I played. I think I played it on PlayStation. So you use the right stick to decide the direction you shoot, and then use the left stick to decide the direction you move. So you can like move backwards and shoot in the opposite direction. If you like games like that, by the way, not part of this classic thing, but the new Tomb Raider. Temple of Light or Warrior of Light, and then there was another one, Temple of Osiris, I think it was.
Yeah,
those work that way too. Multiplayer, super cool, a little racist, but fun games.
Osiris?
Yeah. Well, because it's you, one black explorer who obviously was hired locally and barely speaks English, and then two African people from a tribe who throw spears. So you have two spear chuckers, an undereducated black tour guide, and then the powerful white English.
That's fairly racist.
Woman. I don't find it racist because I don't think less of.
I mean, I guess
but
I guess you could see where that would be racist.
I could see how some people would find it.
If you're going on a
insulting.
safari in Africa and you find white spear chuckers and a white like safari guide,
I would maybe lay off.
I would hold out for a black safari guide. I'm sorry.
That's
yeah,
true.
just if I'm in Africa,
The old
I
white
trust
guy
him a little bit more.
wanted to take me on a ride in his station wagon through Compton. I might wait for the gangbangers.
Yeah.
Just saying. They might know more about what's up. So Binding of Isaac's pretty cool. It's got that same throwback feeling. It's super fucking weird. If you like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and some of that strange emo garbage, if your girlfriend has a lot of tattoos and a lip ring, she might blow you while you're playing it. It's totally strange. So I think that's all I had for this week. Do we have anything else?
That's it.
Cool. Anything else you guys want to sum up with? Talk about your personal experiences or things that you're super excited about?
I'm just glad that this is the kind of thing that's happening with a lot of games now, because if it wasn't, I probably wouldn't be playing that many games. Like, I mean, this is like these kind of games are what really attract me. Like
So you're not gonna play Resident Evil with me?
I'm not excited about the new.
You kind of got a
Call of Duty.
reputation though for finding the best videos and best games. Like, I remember we're working late at the bar. You always put up, the Conan and the glow sticks thing, or you're playing that. What was it, Bear Driver 2000 or something? Enviro Bear 2000. Check that game out,
That
guys.
game's super awesome.
Look up a video or something. That game is just fucking out of this world. You're a bear driving a car. That's what it is. You're a bear driving a car.
You have to, like,
What else do you need?
Yeah.
Maybe if there was a unicorn driving a car, and that would be the best.
There's always a
unicorn
claw
in a pickup.
There's always a claw, like brushing stuff off the dashboard to take away. Or there's a fish flies into your window, so you got to eat that, and then you throw that out the window.
What was the name of that Sasquatch movie from 1996 with family fights?
Harry and the Hendersons.
Harry and the Hendersons needs that game. What if you were playing with you had Retro City Rampage, but as Harry from Harry and the Hendersons? You just throwing things to people. I feel like you would love that game.
Shit, wasn't he?
Yeah, John Lithgow could be player 2.
Hell yeah.
And then they could have,
I'm
and then
all
you could have a
about
third
that.
and a fourth player who are Black Indigenous spirit
I'd always have to be Lithgow. I'm Lithgow, Harry. Harry, I'm Lithgow.
Harry. I could see that. I feel like if I had more time to make more games, that I would make games for free that I didn't necessarily make any money off of. Maybe I would charge for the service, but I would do that so that I didn't have to worry about copyright stuff. So I'd make a really fucked up top-down 8-bit game about Harry Potter, where Harry Potter's on shrooms or takes drugs or some shit when he's at the school, and he's trying to get with Hermione. He's like, "What's up, baby?" He's making fucked up kinds of magic because he can't get it to work right.
Barry Schumer.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't use magic. Because the funny thing about Harry Potter, the series, especially if you watch the movies, is he's the dude who does the least amount of fucking magic. He does 2 Patronuses, and then
That's
has
like
one
his claim to
fight, and that's
fame.
it.
He had a whole school teach him shit, just that one thing.
He never did anything.
Yeah.
He was just sort of there. I read this thing once online that talked about how Harry Potter could have not been there, and it probably would have turned out exactly the same way.
Did you know that there's a Harry Potter erotica?
Of course.
Fan-made stuff that you can read online.
Fanfics?
Fanfics, yeah. There's totally some Harry Potter erotica stuff that's super awesome. Super awesome.
I
don't
wonder
like
about
Harry
your
Potter.
definition of awesome.
I don't like Harry Potter, but I like hearing about how Harry Potter's
Is Harry Pot? Is it called Harry Potted? Put it up in your Harry Pot. All right. Well, I think that's all we got for this week, guys. Appreciate it. We'll have something else for you next week. Look forward to it. Welcome to be back. Happy to be back. We're probably going to throw up, here in a couple minutes, probably throw up some kind of a stream for you guys on one of these 8-bit games, one of these 16-bit games. We'll figure out what it is. So stay tuned. Give us about 15 minutes. We'll come on back. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Double
Get dirty.
salute.
Get old.